रेड भी वहीं पर हुई थी। बाद में जब वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया गया तो उसका कुछ और नाम हो गया जो है। तो ये तो प्लेसमेंट एजेंसी चूंकि इलीगल वो बदलते रहते हैं। तो हमारे आरटीआई का भी जवाब जो हमने 2012 में जो है आरटीआई फाइल किया जो है आपके जो है दिसंबर नहीं, ये बेसिकली आरटीआई फाइल हमारी हुई थी जो है जी नहीं सर 25 जुलाई है शायद जी, जो भी है। लेकिन 2012 में हमने अप्रैल या उसके आसपास हमने फाइल किया था, उसका भी बहुत ही गोल मटोल इन लोगों ने जवाब दिया। तो अब सवाल ये है कि जब आदमी के पास कोई रास्ता नहीं बचता है, जब वो अपने माँ बाप से वहां से उनको खरीद करके दिल्ली ले आकर के बेच दिया जाता है, उनके पास जब कोई रास्ता नहीं बचता तो जुडिशरी या फिर कमीशन के शरण में जाते हैं।
आपने एक पर्सनल लेटर भी लिखा है
जी सर सर उनके जवाब के बारे में मैं आपको नहीं बता पाऊंगा, सॉरी। जी लगा है। लेकिन तो सवाल ये है कि अगर कमीशन जैसे जहां पर लोग अपनी उम्मीद लेकर के पहुंचता है, अगर वहां पर भी उसकी बात नहीं सुनी जाएगी तो निश्चित तौर पर चाहे कमीशन हो चाहे जुडिशरी हो, इन सब चीजों पर से धीरे धीरे लोगों का विश्वास कम होगा। हालांकि मैंने इसलिए पहले ही आपको बताया कि कमीशन के बारे में हमारा बहुत ही पॉजिटिव ओपिनियन रहा है। हमने सुमंगली योजना में भी देखा है, स्कीम में हमने मिर्जापुर में भी देखा है। लेकिन इधर हम पिछले 2-3 साल से जो भी हम कंप्लेन दायर कर रहे हैं उसमें जितना मतलब है ये लोग डिलेट कर सकते हैं, जितना मतलब है। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जब आप कोई कंप्लेन करिए 1 महीने के अंदर तो आपको इमीडिएट एक्शन ही करेंगे, उसके बाद फिर उसमें फाइनल क्या हुआ, आप अगर बहुत पीछे नहीं पड़ रहे हैं, आप बहुत चक्कर नहीं लगा रहे हैं, तो आपको कोई रिजल्ट नहीं मिलने वाला है। ये एक कमीशन का इस समय एक नया चेहरा हमें दिख रहा है और हम चाहेंगे कि जूरी के लोग इसमें जो है जरूर जो है इसमें कुछ हस्तक्षेप करें, पॉजिटिव हस्तक्षेप, जिससे कि इस देश के आम आदमी को का जो विश्वास कमीशन के प्रति बना हुआ है वो बना रहे और समस्याएं हल हो। धन्यवाद।
Good afternoon. I would like to thank you for your patience over the last 3 days. You'll be happy to know that this is our very last session. We will now be speaking on the NHRC's record on protecting the rights of persons with disabilities. Children with disabilities are 5.5 times more likely to be out of school than the general population, in part because many schools still do not accommodate disabilities. According to the World Bank, the employment rate for working-age people with disabilities is only 37.6%, despite the fact that most persons with disabilities are capable of productive work. Discrimination is a leading cause for the high unemployment rate. Persons with disabilities have higher rates of homelessness and institutionalization. They're often subject to physical and mental abuse, including beatings, sexual abuse, willful neglect, and inhuman and degrading living conditions. The legal mechanisms have been introduced to address the concerns of individuals with disabilities. Poor implementation and a lack of resources limit their efficacy. And unfortunately, persons with disabilities are also less likely to obtain police intervention, legal protection, or preventative care. For these reasons, it's imperative that the human rights institutions not wait to hear about problems faced by this community, but instead work proactively to create systematic change. Today we have an expert for you who will talk to you about the NHRC's record on this issue. We have Professor Anil Aneja, the Vice President of the All India Confederation of the Blind. He's also Chairman of the Advocacy Cell, member of the Indian Delegation for the World Blind Union, an Associate Professor of English at the School of Open Learning at Delhi University, where he's also the Officer on Special Duty for the EOC. He's also going to have a PowerPoint presentation for you, so I direct you to his presentation, which is behind you on the stage.
The organizers, dignitaries on the stage, Sadia, my friend Rajiv, and others, ladies and gentlemen come across the country to attend this very important conference on this extremely significant issue. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity and honor to be here today, this afternoon, and to speak to you on a topic which is close to the heart of more than 5 to 10% of Indians, the rights of persons with disabilities, and the role that NHRC has played or should play in their protection. Before I go on to the specifics of my submissions, may I just point out that to have a notion that the rights of persons with disabilities are something other than any other rights is totally misplaced. As we all know, all human rights are universal. We may be talking about these more in the 21st century, but the concern for the protection of human rights has been at the core of human priorities, perhaps from the time that man has begun to be a civilized human being, with the coming into existence of what we call today civil society or society through one of the tools which was a social contract theory. There too, somewhere the desire was that all human beings have equal rights, have the right to live, have the right to have dignity in whatever form, and these rights should be protected from the Jangal Raj which existed before man came to a civil society, man found his identity in a civil society. After the Second World War, as we know, with the Declaration of Universal Human Rights, we may note here that the victims of the Second World War, and particularly people who became disabled in the Second World War, played a very significant role in fostering the thought and the philosophy of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In that, perhaps, the fundamental issues were the right to life, to freedom, to shelter, to nationality, and so on, which, with the evolving concept of rights-based human rights, as opposed to just fundamental basic human rights, the emphasis became more on issues such as equality, freedom, dignity, and liberty. Whereas the Indian Constitution does guarantee these rights and many others for all citizens. In some cases, the social barriers and impediments prevented specific categories of people from enjoying those rights. But in the case of persons with disabilities, the barriers were twofold. In one sense, there were these social impediments, prejudices against persons with disabilities, which treated such persons as mere objects, in some cases even vegetables, items, articles. These terms may seem strong, but these were actually the realities. These are still the realities in some parts of India and other countries. A second impediment was the fact that due to physical disability in certain respects, persons with disabilities themselves had faced difficulty in trying to fight for their rights. For instance, however marginalized, I don't mean to be, undermining the rights of any particular category. However, I do not mean to undermine the rights of any particular category, but I would say that any person who is non-disabled, even if her or his rights are taken away due to any social and cultural factors, the person can still perform certain functions independently. The person can still see, enjoy the environment, get information which comes from sight, can hear music, can hear others talk, can walk to wherever he or she wants, there are normally no such barriers in that. But when it comes to persons with disability, a visually impaired person cannot see, and therefore all that comes from seeing is denied to him or her. An orthopedic person cannot walk, and therefore is denied all that comes from walking, activity of walking, and so on and so forth. Therefore, the external support systems and legal provisions become all the more important when it comes to providing the rights of persons with disabilities. I'm not saying, as I said earlier, I'm not undermining the rights of any other category. All I'm trying to emphasize is that the term what is there in the UNCRPD, reasonable accommodation, has much more meaning, and in terms of support system, and some would call it a high support system from the external environment, when it comes to granting the rights of persons with disabilities to which they have equal right under our constitution and under all international covenances. Just to give you one or two examples of the kind of prejudices one faces. Our Secretary General of All India Confederation of Blind, the organization that I come from, when he got his job in late 60s and his first day in office, during lunchtime, as he opened his tiffin, he noticed, he was a visually impaired person, he perceived a hand coming towards his mouth. And what was that hand coming towards his mouth to do? Was to feed him from his tiffin. Because it was thought, just because a person is blind, visually impaired, he cannot even see his food, cannot eat. This was the level of social awareness in Delhi government offices, nowhere else. When a visually impaired person topped Agra University with an MA first class and a PhD, first class first and a PhD, he was denied all jobs of being a lecturer because he was told studying is all very well, but a blind person cannot teach. When another visually impaired person got a first class first and a PhD in English, he was first not given a job, and when he was given a job, there was an observer in his class for good 1 month because the faith was not there. A person who can get a first class first and a PhD can actually teach. This was the level of humiliation. And this was the level of social prejudices, this was the level of victimization prior to 1980s, late 70s and 80s, when the struggle, active struggle for the rights of persons with disability in this country. So, friends, the point I'm trying to stress through all these examples is that, critical though it is, that all human beings must enjoy equal rights on equal basis, in equal manner, the case of the disabled, person with disability, is all the more grave because there much of the barriers are external, physical and legislative, not just prejudices which can be overcome by sensitization. Therefore, the role of legislative and social institutions such as NHRC becomes all the more